I get the, you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, fine rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those times, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time. I need the Heimlich, throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah.
Well, hey, we are back. We are back. Great to see everyone. Why is there a delay on my side? I don't know why, but we'll crack on anyway. There's always something that goes wrong right before we kick off. But how are you, lads?
All good, mate. All good.
Good. Big news, lads. Big news. We won a bit of silverware. Everyone delighted about that.
Yeah, brilliant.
Sailor Cup. Not so
Absolutely
bad.
Brilliant. I'm not quite sure on the not quite sure on the scoring system, Daz, because when I looked at it, I was trying to get my head around it, and it was like, played 12 points, and I was thinking, how's it 12 points? But we won. That's all that matters.
You got an extra point for each goal you scored as well, Chris. That's why.
Oh, I see. Right, okay. Yeah.
I think it was just to incentivize the fact to try and make the games interesting rather than just like monotonous picked up friendlies, really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Yeah, I was watching it in like Spanish or Italian this afternoon, and then when that came up at the end, I was looking at the table just like, what? And then I was like, oh, whatever, we won.
Exactly. The other big news that we had at the weekend is that 1 million views, lads. 1 million views unloaded. That is absolutely crazy. Thanks to everyone that's ever viewed a show, ever been part of a show, or anything to do with this. Thanks for getting us to where we are. 1 million views. Mind-boggling. Pete, how are you?
Yeah, all good. Happy to see another good performance today. I think we're ready for the season now. I think as well, Eddie Howe's got some headaches on selections this week, which is not a bad thing. It's a nice change to be unsure of who's going to start, but not necessarily be bothered about who's going to be starting, because we've got a lot of good players in our team. So really happy with the game performance, and looking forward to the season ahead, which is why we are doing the predictions tonight. So we'll keep it rolling.
We keep it rolling. I like that use of rolling. See what you did there, Chris. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. All good. I sadly I missed the game yesterday, but I did catch up on the highlights, and then this afternoon I was doing a bit of work. But I did manage to catch a good chunk of the second half, which was really enjoyable. As Pete said, really good performance, and looking back over this weekend, having a 2-0 win against Fiorentina and a 4-0 win against Villarreal sets us up lovely going into the season. And definitely Eddie Howe's got some big decisions to make, especially given Mr. Barnes' performance this afternoon. Thought that was particularly impressive. All good. Yeah, mate, I love that. I love that celebration. I was trying to copy it today, but I was really struggling with it, so I had to practice it. But no, I like it.
Won't be the last time we see it, Chris. Trust me.
Absolutely not, mate. Absolutely not. And before we get into the quiz, I would like to hear your thoughts on that, because I have
quiz.
You know me with quiz. No, in fact, you know what? I'll ask you that quick before we move on to it. Do you just a very, very quick question, segue in slightly? Did any of you watch those goals this afternoon from Barnes and think Maxi wouldn't have scored that? Because I did, particularly the second one, just the way he hit it, really crisp, decisive, straight, straight on goal, lots of power, and it just not that this is an attempt to try and bash Maxi in any way, but you can see the difference between how direct Barnes is compared to Maxi. Certainly from what we've seen of Maxi, anyway. Is that fair to say? Do you think?
Yeah. Look, Maxi's a player that excites, that entertains. Like, to be fair, I personally, I don't want to talk. I don't really want to talk about Maxi. Maxi's gone. We've said goodbye to him. I think we need to move on from him now in that conversation. But anyone that's keeping and not you, by the way, Chris, but anyone that keeps talking about Maxi, it just like a little bit obsessive. Like he's moved on. He's already played for a new club. He's already scored goals at a new club. For me, Barnes is our player. Barnes is a goal scorer. That's what you're noticing the difference on, Chris, in my opinion. You're noticing a winger that can put the ball in the net. Yeah. And that's why we brought him, and that's why we paid the money. So for me, I'm not surprised to see it because having watched him at Leicester, I've seen what he can do. I've seen what he's about. For me, we are going to be seeing some really good stuff. But this is why, when it first came out, he was linked. This is why I said he's a terrific player. He's going to be the guy for us. And today just kind of solidifies that for me.
Richie, I'm going to go to you next. And you're fully rebooted now, and you had that little hiccup right before the show, but you got it in now on the system. But you ready for some predictions?
I am, mate. Yeah. Just interesting what the lads were saying there about Harvey Barnes. I thought he was exceptional today. I like that little partnership that they've got. Him and Wilson seem to have this little understanding where they're trying to play each other through with all the 1-2s already. Because everyone knows about Harvey Barnes' little 1-2s he had at Leicester. So it's nice to see that they're working on that. And that, as Pete said, Eddie's got some nice selection headaches coming up for this next 7 days. So it's, I think there was a few people say that the starting three yesterday were the starting three, but next week up front. But I think Harvey Barnes might have a say on that after today's performance. It wouldn't surprise me if he went ahead of Anthony Gordon. There's a difference between the two of them, in my opinion.
Who starts for you guys?
Yeah, is this our predictions for next week already?
Oh God!
Was this a question?
I don't know. Definitely start that one.
Anything?
No, because we half an hour on that topic alone. Away days. We have away days for that beat during the week.
I think Anthony Gordon will start because we know how Eddie Howe likes to bring people in slowly and stuff like that. But to be fair, I think Harvey Barnes deserves to start what I've seen so far from in a Newcastle shirt on pre-season. He was exceptional today. It really was.
Right. Let's move on, lads. And I'm going to go to bringing on our guest. And our guest is back as we get into some predictions. But to bring him on, he really needs an intro. So here is his new intro. Season 23-24. Look away now.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, the funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb are closing in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver, for no mere mortal can resist the evil of the thriller.
Evening,
And
lads.
here he is.
That's brilliant.
Love it, Dad.
Welcome back, Keith.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I hope everyone's well. Good
Good,
to
mate.
see you.
All good. All good. How'd you like your new intro?
Yeah, it took us back to Michael Jackson, Thriller there. All of a sudden, bit of Vincent Price going on in the mix. That wasn't what I was expecting.
We always try to surprise you, Keith. Always keep you on your toes. But yeah, the old Doom scenario. So yeah, you had to have something a bit Doom-like. So yeah, welcome to our predictions. And before we start that, we're going to need something to decide the topic we go to. So guess what is back as well? The spinny wheel. Let me get it ready. Here we go. Here's the spinny wheel. So let's see. Can you see that? Yes. All right. So we have a number of selections. So I'll spin the wheel and see what we land on. Our first topic for discussion tonight is.
It had to be.
Will Stato get off the fence this season?
Love it.
So I'm going to say no, straight off the bat, no.
Pete?
It may well be a Shazi feeling right here because I don't think he will. He'll stick to his guns.
I'm not sure, you know. I don't know with Keith. I think he might be a little bit more decisive this season. He will be on the fence at some points. There's no doubt. But I expect to see the caginess for the Champions League. But I reckon for a few Premier League games, Keith's going to go in confident this season. Just got a feeling.
I can probably safely say that Keith will be on the fence in about at least 2/3 of the games this year.
Keith, what do you think?
Well, I feel like I've been put on the spot, lads, with that. No, I wouldn't be doing my job if I wasn't on that fence. You know, being on the fence, it's the best place to be. So I'm sort of more in line here with Richie and with Chris. You know, there will be times where I will be on that fence, certainly. I will be accused of being on that fence. But, you know, if Newcastle play the way they played last season, you know, there'll be one or two times when I won't be on the fence, put it that way.
That's some prediction. Let's see how it plays out and move on. We're back to the wheel. Here we go again. Next topic. What do we got? Premier League player of the season. So this is not Newcastle player of the season. This is the Premier League player of the season. Pete, we'll go to you first.
It's hard to say straight off the bat, if I'm honest. Yeah, I might need time to think about that one. It's not one you can just pluck off. The easy one to go with is Haaland. That would be the easy one. But I've got a feeling it's not going to be Haaland this year.
Yeah, I don't think it will be.
I've got an answer. I looked at all the questions that Daz put in the WhatsApp chat and came up with some answers already because he told me it was going to be quick fire.
Yeah.
I went with De Bruyne.
De Bruyne.
Yeah.
Okay. Keith?
I think this is the toughest question on that wheel. The Premier League player of the season, definitely. And
he's on the fence straight away.
I had a look, and four times out the last God knows how many years has been either City, Liverpool, or Chelsea, one of the Premier League winners in their seasons. Certainly, the last 4 years have been Man City. The easy answer, the predicted answer, would be Haaland because I think he's going to get the number of goals he's going to get last year, similar to, or De Bruyne because he had a slightly disappointing season. But if I was going to go the other way and play devil's advocate and say maybe Arsenal could win the title, I could see somebody like, as an outsider, Ødegaard, because he had a brilliant season last year. If he's able to build on that, he doubled the number of goals. And if Arsenal are just going to able to convert that and win the title, maybe by a slight point, then Ødegaard could be central to that in the midfield and he could be one. So I'm going to say the predicted answer, Haaland, but I'm going to say Ødegaard as an outsider.
Got to pick a third as well, Keith?
Maguire. So to put Maguire in the chat.
Yeah, it was Kamal.
To be fair, I'll stick with the Arsenal. Conversation and go Bukayo Saka.
I actually forgot to think about my answer for this one, so I'm not going to go. I have all the other answers wrote down, and I came up with the questions here. I'm going to go Isak.
That's a good shout.
Yeah, not bad shout at all.
I'm gonna go Phil Foden, because I think Phil Foden is gonna play a lot more football this season, especially with Mahrez leaving. I think Foden could maybe try and make the right wing his own position. I know normally he plays predominantly on the left, but I think we could see Foden move to the right, especially given that Grealish will probably be on the left. So yeah, I'm gonna say Phil Foden.
Cool. You know what? On there, Rodri's not a bad shout.
Rodri's a good shout.
Yeah,
It's not a bad shout either. He's superb.
I wanted to try and go away from Man City, but I struggled to. Only for the fact. I mean, I nearly said Gvardiol, but I don't even think he's signed yet, has he? So it's probably a bit too.
Is it official now?
Is it official?
So. I heard it on the radio yesterday. It's been signed on Talk Sport. So
yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if
77 million.
Right, let's move on, lads.
Yeah,
go rapid fire through these, and spin again. First Newcastle Premier League goal scorer this season.
Okay.
Mine's obvious, but I went for Isak.
Keith?
In the last 3 seasons, 2 of those, Wilson scored the first goal for Newcastle. And last season, I think he got the second. He was the second Newcastle goal scorer. But he hasn't been in the best form out of the Newcastle players in the preseason. I think that's a really good shout from Bill Ashby there. Could be Almiron. I mean, Almiron's banged in about 3 in preseason. So, but for me, it's either got to be Isak or Wilson. But I think Almiron's definitely a good shout.
So, Keith, you're picking 2 answers for Everton. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll go Big Joe. Joe Linton.
I've gone Miggy. I wrote it down here. I've Miggy. Just he's in a bit of form.
I think anybody who says Isak is like Keith says, it's we don't know who he's going to pick out of Wilson and Isak. You know what I mean? So it's with Miggy, you pretty much guarantee he's going to start on the right, whereas through the centre you don't know who. So it's pretty much potluck out with those 2 if you go for one of them.
Anderson was actually the top goal scorer for Newcastle, I think, in pre-season. I think with 4 goals.
Yeah,
he's in great form.
Yeah,
it's had a great pre-season.
But will he start? Because the left hand, he's played, and this is the conversation that was going on in Jordy's Down South chat, because they were saying, they were kind of arguing that he would start ahead of Barnes and Gordon on the left hand side of the front 3, but he's played all his football in the midfield 3. I don't think Eddie Howe will start him on the left hand side of a front 3, but then that's where Joe Linton plays. And we all know that Joe Linton doesn't really get displaced. So, I don't know.
Pete, you probably know this better than me because I didn't see the game. But somebody, I forget who it was, might have been Craig Hope, but somebody said that Elliot Anderson was played was it the first or the second half on the right-hand side of the midfield 3. And for me, that's always been the big question as the starting lineup, because I think Bruno's going to sit. And I know Eddie Howe probably doesn't want to start Tonali because it's a bit
against Fiorentina, Chris.
Yeah, because I didn't see the game, but apparently he switched.
He started there.
He either started or moved. I don't know which half it was to play on the right of the 3 in the midfield.
Tonali started there, and Miley finished there against Fiorentina.
I definitely read it.
Miley was on the right side because Miley was excellent. I know these are not quick answers, Dad. I apologise.
No. Okay. I budgeted for this.
Miley was outstanding on that right hand side, and Tonali actually finished as a number 6. Elliot Anderson played on the left for the majority.
I'll have to find out where I've seen it. Somebody said it, and because for me, Bruno's going to sit. J7 should really start on the left of the three, and then we knew that there's a chance Longstaff probably wouldn't start. Willick's definitely not going to start, and is Tonali ready to start? And I was thinking it would be ideal if Elliot Anderson could start on the right hand side of the three. And then when I read that, I thought, is Eddie priming him, getting him ready for it? I think Elliot. I would like to see Elliot Anderson start against Villa. I think he deserves it, but whether he will or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
To answer the question, by the way, and I was hoping no one would say it. So my first Premier League goal scorer for Newcastle is going to be Anthony Gordon. I think Anthony Gordon's going to score first, definitely, and I think he's going to start.
Interesting
stuff.
Have we all given an answer there?
Yeah,
I think
we
so.
have. Okay.
Daz, before you move on.
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
We've got a couple of quick little shout outs. Lisa's just let us know that Stephen Fairburn's gifted 5 memberships again.
Thanks, Stephen.
To be fair, if we go back to the last show, he did say if we had over so many likes, he would gift 5 more memberships.
He did.
The other day, and also to our good friend Tampa Toons gifted 10 memberships as well.
Thanks, Tampa Toon.
Tampa Toon once again at the start. Harry's just put a nice comment in for Tampa 2 as well, just as his lad was happy with his new tell because obviously he won on the members draw the other week. So there you go. Thank you very much.
Again, thanks to Tampa Toon, and we have. If I get my spinny wheel changed over towards the end, we'll do a members draw as well, and it's the last of the Tampa Toon gifts as well to give away before we switch back to the loaded gifts again going forward. But yeah, again, and as we said before, a massive thanks to Tampa Toon. Right, let us start going again and see what we have. Spin and win. Stopped. Okay. Will Newcastle finish ahead of Man United?
Yes.
Yes.
No.
That's the easy answer, Chris. That's the easy answer, man.
I know. I don't know. I think I'll explain why later because I think there's more questions as to why, but my answer's no on that one.
No, I was only joking.
Keith, yes, you can have two answers here as well, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to say yes, but it's a no from me as well. Unfortunately, I still don't think Newcastle United are ready yet to take United. I think they've improved made some good acquisitions as well in the summer with Onana in particular in the defence. It looks like they're improving in every position. So
hold on, Keith, he got lobbed. He got lobbed yesterday.
Oh,
yeah.
For the second time.
I know, but on paper you would expect, but I think that's a good point from Craig Lee there that Man United's defence, still, Newcastle have got the edge on that certainly, but at the minute I'm still saying no. I'm yet to be convinced, and I will be convinced in time.
My answer here, it was I know last night, but it's yes today. We will finish ahead of Man United.
He's changed his mind.
I changed it. I've just seen a bit the game today as well. Just the strength and depth that we have now as well, and I think we're going to add at least one more. Apart from because Tino Livramento is already there, so one more on top of that at least. Right, let's go again. Oh. The first sending off for Newcastle. I'm going in here straight away. Big Joe, Joe Linton.
There you go. That's who you were going to say.
Joe Linton.
I'm with Joe. Big Joe Linton. Oh no, tell a lie. It's one of the two Brazilians. It has to be one of the two.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, their discipline during pre-season worries me.
Yeah,
really worries me. Both of them have not been great. I'll go with you, Jolinton.
Roll it.
I'm going to say Bruno.
Bruno, yeah.
Still feel Bruno's not quite. It still looks a little bit frustrated to me. Whether it's the fact he's sitting in that number 6 still, who knows? But yeah, I'm going to say Bruno. Richie?
Richie?
I said Fab Shaw.
Fab Shaw, sorry. Keith?
It's not bad, Shaw. That's right.
How many answers do you want?
Yeah, I'm with Chris there. Certainly about the Brazilians. I think 2 yellows at Joe Linton in one game, probably. That's what I would say.
Is that for technical area breach, that one, David Cook, is it?
That's a really good point.
It is.
My God, yeah.
But you might have not seen it. You might have not seen it yesterday. They're still together. They've just dropped themselves 5 yards. They're not technically. I noticed it about 10 minutes in. I looked down and I'm like, they're both together. And I genuinely thought at one point that they've pulled the pitch in to tighten it up so they could be near the bench but still together. But all they've done, they've just dropped anyhow for the whole of the Fiorentina game. You could barely see like the bottom half of his body because he dropped himself 5 yards and he's not technically in the technical area, and they just stood together for the whole game. So that was the easy way around it. It might not be that he's right on the touchline, but they're still together. So I don't think it makes a difference at all.
Good.
David Cook says there they swapped back and forward, which makes sense what you've just said, Pete. So if they're both out of the technical area, 1 minute, Mad Dog can go forward and then come back, and then Eddie can go forward and come back. Just take turns.
I can't see them being very, very strict unless they're stagnant in that position for over 30 seconds kind of thing. Then they might put
to be fair, the Premier League's never ever been strict on the fact that if managers or coaching staff leaving the technical areas and going towards onto the pitch or towards, so that's never stopped them before. So
okay, let's move on. Next question, and we are getting through them, lads.
We are, yeah.
So next up is
Good one.
Newcastle's young player of the season.
Well, the lads, I think I went with Elliot Anderson. I think he'll play a lot more this season.
Yeah, it's the easy answer to go for.
Yeah,
the super talent.
I did a Keith. I had 3 answers. Do you want to hear them?
Go on.
I eventually I said on Elliot Anderson, but I had Tino Livramento as an option in there as well. And Gordon, you can put Gordon into that category, I'm sure still. So, but I've gone with Elliot Anderson.
Keith?
Yeah, I think that's a good shout. Certainly, it's dependent on the game time. Obviously, pre-season form, I would say Elliot Anderson, but is he going to get the game time throughout the season? And then after that, my initial thought, carrying in the England under 21 form, would be Anthony Gordon.
Yeah, I'll go Gordon. You sold it to me, Keith. You sold it to me.
Dumas, someone's gone Dumas. Clarky.
Isn't it a true testimonial this year? We're going to get another testimonial at St. James's Park.
Yeah.
Should do.
You should.
Okay, I think we've all answered. So we move on. Next one. Oh, here we go. Newcastle's top scorer this season. Now, across all competitions, top goal scorer. I've gone Isak, yeah.
I went with Isak.
Pete's thinking about cup competitions, aren't you, Pete?
I'm not. I've got 3 players: Barnes, Willock, No, not Barnes, Willett. Barnes, Wilson, Isak. I think it genuinely could be any one of those three. Genuinely. And I can't. I think Isak will play more as a striker this season. I think he'll start more of the games. But Wilson's just a goal scorer. I'll go Wilson.
Get injured again? Sorry.
I'll go Wilson. I'll go Wilson.
I'm going to say Isak. Purely after what Pete said as well. I think he'll start more in the centre. Now that we've got Barnes, I don't see Isak being pushed out to the left. So I think Isak will start more for the centre. We may see Wilson have less games. On saying that, obviously you do have to take the cup competitions into consideration, and the fact that we may rest Isak a little bit more. Maybe we'll see Wilson coming on a bit earlier. Who knows? But I think it's going to be a close one thing between Isak and Wilson, but I'm going to say Isak. Keith?
Same sort of thoughts as Chris Hall, really. Isak, Wilson. The both of them scored 1 and 2 last year in their games. But interestingly, when you mentioned about cup games, Isak hasn't scored in cup competition for Newcastle yet.
Oh, good start.
5 games, no goals in cup competitions for Isak. Again, a lot of this is injury dependent. Wilson will be that bit older. I'm going to give Isak the shade here. I think he'll shade it in the two, between the two.
Right, I think we're ready to go. Let's go again. I've added another question in there as well.
Oh.
First manager sacked. First Premier League manager sacked.
Since I wrote it down, I went with Julian Lopetegui from Wolves.
Okay, I'll go next. 2. I did another Keith again. I was thinking David Moyes or Roy from Crystal Palace. But I think I'm going to go with David Moyes.
I'm going to go Sheffield. I don't even know who he is, but I'm going to go Sheffield United's manager. I don't even know who he is.
Is it Heckenbottom still?
Probably. I haven't spoken to a mate who's a Blades fan, and their summer window has been an absolute car crash.
Yeah,
the fact that they've sold their best striker, I genuinely fear for them in the Premier League this season, and I think they'll go for it. Is it sacked or resigned? Because Lopetegui's already talking about walking away from Wolves, which I would then incline to go with Lopetegui. I think Rich is right. I think Lopetegui could be the first to go, but he's
first to leave,
walking away.
Yeah.
So is it first to leave or first to be sacked?
First to leave the post or be sacked. Yeah. So.
I'll stick with Sheffield United, but I think Rich might be right with Lopetegui.
I'll go with Steve Cooper at Forest.
That's a big shout.
Yeah, he's a good manager.
I think Steve Cooper did a good job last season, but I know before that they had that little resurgence towards the end of the season. I know there was a few people calling for him to be, removed. So yeah, just a feeling. Marcus, someone in the chat with Marcus Silva as well. That'd be a good shout with the Saudi.
Yeah, especially with the link with Saudi. Yeah.
Keith, what do you reckon?
Some interesting shouts there. And this was, again, one of the toughest questions I found. And I initially thought Steve Cooper as well, Chris, because if you remember, his name was pulled into the press speculation throughout the year before they had that resurgence. They've spent a lot of money at Forest. They expect big things. And if they're around about 15th, 16th, 17th again, are their owners going to have the patience, given all the money that they've spent, to bring people in? And again, for me, it was either Steve Cooper, Julian Lopetegui. This is an outside shout, and this guy really shouldn't be in the frame because he's done a fantastic job abroad. What about Andoni Garner at Bournemouth? They harshly sacked their manager towards the end of the last season after keeping him up. If it doesn't gel for them at Bournemouth, will he be in line?
Yeah, good shout.
Good shout.
I hope Chris is right with Klopp. I hope he's right.
That'd be funny, that wouldn't it?
Right.
There's quite a few said it in the chat. Like
2027, isn't he?
They don't have a good start to the season. Hopefully, we smash them at St James's. Help them along the Steve Cooper's a really good shout, Chris. You mentioned it. The only thing I'll say is that the Forest fans love him, and that's why he stayed in the job last season. Is because the fans really kind of rallied around him. They really want him to stay.
But if they're just hovering above the bottom 3 or the bottom 4, will there be calls in the media? Will there be pressure in the media this year?
There was last season, Keith. But you're right, there was. But the fans rallied around him, and I think he might well do it again. I don't know why, but they've got this like blind loyalty to him. They really like him as a manager.
Yeah, there's an awful lot of signings they made, though. There were like kind of stupid signings, like Chris Wood as well, including that. The price they paid for him. But look, we'll move on. Actually, a reminder to hit that like button as well. We're going to go for something crazy because this video, people can go back to it any time. It'll be still interesting for people to watch. I'm going to go for 500 likes. So get your 500 likes. And Richie, I see you pointing to something else as well. Tell us.
Yeah, Hyperball, new member. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for supporting the channel. I don't know whether if Daz does get a member draw, we'll set up what later on, whether we'll be able to add you in time. The pressure's on, Daz.
I can do that now, Richie. Yeah, I can do that now. As you're
speaking. There you go. He's got it all set up. So if anybody else wants to join, become a member to get in that draw tonight, this is you get yourself in. Last takes half an hour or so.
Done. Right, let's get back to the other wheel as I freeze again. Let's go. What have we got? Oh, this is the one I added, I think. No, it's not. Away days guest.
This is so easy. This one, Daz. If it's not lawless, right? I am going to be shocked.
I've gone different. I've gone for the Anfield Rap. Anfield Rap always gets good views as well when they come on. So I'm going to go the Anfield Rap and when we play Liverpool. If they come on, of course, it could be a different guest this season. Pete, what do you think?
There's 3. Lawless, of course, is a top guy. Catch him tomorrow, by the way.
It's quite unanimous in the chat at the minute. Everyone's saying Lawless.
Yeah, and rightly so, because he's such a great guy. And you know what? He gets a lot of stick. But actually, for this channel, for our channel, he's been amazing for us. Yes. The amount of conversations that me and Daz have had after shows, and he's given his advice and support and various different things. That he is a really, really genuine, nice guy. So yeah, the bullshit comments aside, he is top. Lawless is always up there. Jordy Two for Lies put in their side TV. Hopefully, we're getting back on the season. He brings in the viewers. But I've got 2 others. Anfield Rap. I agree, Daz. Anfield Rap always bring big viewers, and they'll be back involved this season. But Potts and Arsenal. Potts has always got something up his sleeve. He doesn't come alone. And the plan will be for him to bring someone along with him. And who knows? Whoever that is this season, we'll wait and see. So I'll put any one of those 3. I can't decide on one, but those 3.
Cool.
I think Little Dan's a good shout for an outside as well. People like Little Dan as well.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Have we all answered there? Oh, sorry,
Chris. I'll go for someone different than you 3. I agree with you, lads. Some fantastic. We always get fantastic guests on away days, to be fair. But I'm going to go for my mate, Mike from the Unholy Trinity podcast. I think top lad, works with him. Really, really nice guy, knows his football, And I think with the rivalry, with Everton as a whole, I think that will pull the viewers in. I think everyone will want to see it, and hopefully when we do play Everton are really struggling, so that we can just kind of rub it in a little bit on Mike. So yeah, I'll say Everton and the Unholy Trinity podcast with Mike.
I think the most views over the last 2 seasons have either been between the Newcastle Man United. So I think there's that Armchair United, I think, who does.
Yeah.
It's been about 4.3k. And Newcastle Liverpool, so the Anfield Wrap, that's been about 4.4. So I think it's probably going to be one or the other. And I'd probably say the Anfield Wrap.
Keep lots of stats into it. Like it. And just back on Lawless as well, I agree exactly with what Pete's saying. But Dan Lawless plays the pantomime villain so well on screen. He's class. And often he's such a nice guy as well. Like he still has that thing as well, but it's class. So much. Right, let's move on. Let's see what we land on. Oh, this is the one I added. Who is your favorite away days guest?
Oh,
There's a away day special here. Jesus.
oh.
I'll go first. I'm going to say Keith Roll. There we go.
Unanimous. Thank you very much.
He's not a guest though. He's part of the family. He's part of the family. He's not a guest.
Okay, I'll go again.
I think it's probably best to get Pete on this one because Pete's done every away day. So
I'm not answering this question. I've already decided.
I think it's harder for the rest. I think it's harder for me, Chris and Daz, to do it because obviously we're going to probably only comment on the ones that we've been part of sometimes. Because obviously, yes, we've watched some, but
It's
obviously,
not
there's
part
the
of
ones.
it, though, Rich. From what you've watched, who is your favorite away days guest? From what I can't because honestly, the fact that these guys take their time out of their day to come on our channel to talk football is enough for me. These guys are amazing, and the ones that have come back, we're going into our 3rd season now. Like I can't honestly answer that question. They're all amazing. I am Splinters. You can put me as Splinters. I don't care.
To be fair, Pete, I don't blame you because there is that many good guests that you've been getting on. You know, as people have turned around and put in the chat for the previous question, there's been some fantastic responses, and everyone seems to have a different one. So I think it's going to be really hard to, and as you said, it's disrespectful to turn around and give one really. So I think this is probably the only question that we're allowed that have night where we can sit on the fence.
Yeah, but let's sit on the fence though for that one. Another like Mike as well from the Southampton channel as well. Like even from clubs that are relegated, and even before the previous season, there was some great guests as well that ended up getting relegated.
To be fair to Pete, I'm gonna make Pete blush now. To be fair to Pete, all the guests that we get on for away days have been brilliant. Like whether I'm part of the show or watching the show back, I always enjoy away days. It's always a really good show.
I think each of the guests brings something new and something different to each. You know, there's a different vibe, but it's always a good vibe, whether it be the knowledge, whether it be the humor and Little Dan and obviously Lawless, but there's a lot of, dedicated fans, who, what they bring to the table. It's brilliant.
I look forward to
sorry guys, we don't just go for anybody. The people that we select are people that are going to be right for this channel and that are going to add something as well and that are knowledgeable. So for any of you, Daz, you've been on before. We did the Chelsea boys. Chris, you've been on so many. Rich, you've been on so many. Even Martin had been on a few as well in previous seasons. But what you find is that we always come off and go, no, it was a really good chat. They know their stuff. That's what we always try and bring. I could just grab anybody as a fan to come on, but they won't have that same. It wouldn't have the same effect.
There's one that's just came. Was there the Nest one, the Crystal Palace? Can you remember the American who joined as well? He was a brilliant guest as well.
Yeah.
There's loads in the chat as well saying Mike from Southampton. There's Chris from Leicester was great.
We'll miss Chris from Leicester, won't we? We'll miss him this season.
You've got Joe from Leeds.
If we get them in the cup, hopefully, fingers crossed we get them in the cup, just so that we get Chris from Leicester on the call.
You know what? I do a lot of from 12 man with Joe, and Rich, I know you know Joe as well.
Yeah.
Joe is unbelievable. He is unbelievable. Like, we've only had him on a couple of times, but I don't think we've seen the best of Joe, and I do hope for that reason that those boys come back up, because we do miss them. And Joe, I think he's on 22,000 subs now. He's flown in the last year and a half. Like, he is smashing it right now. So yeah, Joe's a great shot. Dior, I think that Rich, you put in there, Mr. Dior, the Forest guy. What a guy! What a guy! Oh, we're going on all day about this.
It just goes to it just backs up what Kamal says in the chat there about the away days shows being absolutely fantastic, and all the guests that were best away days, stuff like that. So it's much appreciated, Kamal, and obviously hats off for Pete on that one. He's the one that away days was always his baby from the very, very start. So credit goes where credit's due, Pete.
And you know what? You don't have long to wait, because on Monday we have Battleground Europe. Let the games begin. And then that'll lead us into away days as well, coming on Thursday night. So stay tuned for that one. Let's go on. Let's move on and spin the wheel again. That was a nasty little question I had in there for you. Sorry, lads. Right. As we're 45 subs away from 6K, in this next season, will Loaded reach 7K subs?
Hell yes.
I'm saying yes as well. Why not?
Easiest yes of the night.
Honestly, boys, with what we do, we've just talked about so many shows with just one element of what we offer. With what we offer, I hope we're beyond 7K by the end of this season. I think we so many people put in the chat. When the loaded tweet came out the other night about the 1 million views, look at the amount of responses that we got off that. Unbelievable. And it just goes to show what we offer. And everyone says we should get more subs. And people in the chat, we try. Trust me, we are trying. We're doing everything we can, but we stick to what we believe in as a channel. We stick to our values. I remember when I joined, 2021 May-ish time, and we had the AGM. Remember those AGMs, boys?
Bring back the AGM.
But the one thing that we set was our values and what we wanted to grow as a channel, and I think we've stuck to that no matter what. And look, people will start to sub. There's no doubt about it, and I'm confident that we'll be there. We're just getting started, boys. We're just getting started.
I think this is one answer to a question where you'll comfortably see me off the fence. I think Loaded 1,000 this season, and it'll be soon.
Yes, Keith.
Nice one, Keith. Right, we'll move on. And I'll see. There's a question there, Richie. I'm going to grab it. Is 9 NUFC? But have we ever done a call-in show? Well, we did do our Loaded Cube, and before that we had Loaded Live Line as well, where we got viewers to join us to show us. We might resurrect it again. It goes well for a while, and then it kind of fades out, or we have so many other shows. But we might resurrect it again at a later stage.
Maybe something we
could do as a monthly thing, Daz, perhaps.
Yeah. Do you know what? Yeah, I was going to say maybe we do a section of it on like a reaction show. I think it's good on a reaction show because you obviously people want to talk about the match that's just been. So maybe we do that. So yeah, something for us to talk about at the next stage. Yeah.
When's that?
Don't know.
Let's spin again. Oh, here we go. This one will take a while. I want your Premier League top 5, not top 4, top 5.
Do you want it in order, Daz?
I want it in order.
Okay.
I'll start if you want. I've got Man City to win the league. I've got Arsenal to finish second. I've gone Newcastle to finish third. I've changed my mind from a week ago. I was finishing fifth. I've gone to finish in third. I've gone up in my estimations there. I've got Man United to finish fourth, and I've got Liverpool to finish fifth.
Right. I concur with your top two. I think Liverpool might nick third. I've went with us fourth. Chelsea fifth. And Man City Man United just to be nice and they come sixth. They're out the top five.
I've gone City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United.
Chelsea second.
I think Poch is going to make a big difference this season. And when I watched us play against Chelsea in the summer series, I particularly like the look of Nicholas Jackson, and I think he could play a big part for them this season. Now they've got a proper. Don't forget they've got Liza Habit, and they've got a proper what looks like a proper number 9. And with Poch, I think Chelsea.
I think Poch has made a huge difference for Chelsea, man. Yeah. That's why after that put them in the top 5.
Positive, really positive. He always is really positive, and if he has a similar sort of impact on Chelsea like he had at Spurs.
They've got the players, Keith. They've got the players. They've spent all that money, and now Poch can try and get the best out of those players like your Mudryks, your Fernandes, and Enzo Fernandez. I think Chelsea could surprise a few people this season.
And plus, as well, they don't have Europe to worry about either, do they? Really?
Nope.
So,
nope.
Great point. I haven't got Chelsea in my top 5. I've got to be honest.
Oh, okay.
I've got them thick. I just don't know what to expect from them. They could be amazing. They could be mediocre. But I've gone Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. And then it's a toss-up between the next two positions for 4th and 5th. And I've gone Newcastle 4th, Man United 5th.
If you said Newcastle 5th and Man United 4th, you're getting knocked off, Pete. So yeah.
No. What I originally said, I think me and Richie were the only two that said it, that we thought that we'd finish above.
We did, we did.
I do believe that. And
I said that
purely on the basis of, I don't know. I'm inclined to think that Chelsea might actually finish above Man United. I don't know what they're going to do, but we'll see.
I agree with you, as I said Chelsea 5th and Man United 6th.
There you go. Yeah.
Keith, have you answered this one?
Yeah, not yet. No. I think this has got a lot of variables, but I will say City and Arsenal 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Not much between them. Really difficult to see, but I think it could be United 3rd, Liverpool 4th, because I think there will be an improvement there. And there's a lot of variables to 5th, but certainly if injuries are kept down and Newcastle are in form, I think they'll get 5th. But I agree with the points that they've raised. Chelsea and also Villa were the most improved side in the second half of last. I can see them making a push as well and pushing certainly the likes of Newcastle for that 5th spot.
I'll tell you what, it's a great point, Keith, because none of us have mentioned Villa or Brighton, but I do also, I agree with you, Keith. I think Villa
really
and Brighton.
And some of the players that Newcastle wanted, like Diaby, and that have ended up at Villa.
Yeah.
I think the only thing for me on them is how can they will they be able to catch people off guard this season? And I don't think they will. I think people will be more switched on to them now. And I think, do you know what I mean? People were a bit more, were supposedly meant to be switched on for us after the way we finished the season before, but they weren't able to counteract with the people in the playing style for a full season and the high press and stuff. Whereas I still think Brighton might come above Villa. I still think that.
To add on what Richie said, because I agree with what Richie said with regards to that, with Brighton and Villa, you've got to also add that they're both playing in Europe. And then we're playing Thursday, Sunday. It's okay when we benefited from playing one game a week for long parts of the season. And we know what happened with us when we prioritised the Carabao Cup. Our form dropped. who's to say that that won't happen to Brighton and Villa, who Brighton, in my opinion, have got a great first 11, but not a great squad. So when their squad is stretched, are they going to be able to continue to play that sort of football? Villa have built a bigger squad, so they're probably more in the conversation.
What do you
but
think?
yeah, I think it's a good point.
What do you think about Villa's signings like Tielemans on a free and Pau Torres as well as Diaby? I mean, he's obviously worked with Pau Torres at Villarreal, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's the manager more than anything. It's the manager. He's a top-class manager. He'll get them playing. There's no doubt about it. But it's whether they can sustain it throughout all weeks of the season, like we did last season.
Got to play on a Thursday night as well. A lot of people don't like the Thursday night. Don't do well on the Sunday after. So,
yeah.
Well, that was an interesting one. Let's move on. Go again. This is for one is on a fictional character that is Chrissy Kenwright. Shall Chrissy Kenwright come in and purchase a player from Newcastle? I.e., will Everton purchase a Newcastle player over the course of the season? I'm saying no way.
I've said he'll try but fail.
I'll go last.
Hey, if you turn around and say Wilson again, we're all having words.
I won't.
I'll be honest. I don't think Everton will sign anyone from Newcastle, but I hope they would. Isaac Hayden sitting there, ready, primed, ready to play Premier League football. So is Jeff Hendrick and Ryan Fraser.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would hope that they would sign one of those three, but I don't think.
Do you know what? Jeff Hendrick's not a bad shot because at least he knows that Sean Dyche knows what he gets.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Look at the cogs going.
Yeah. Watch for that one. Big him up, Chris. Make sure you get that
Kieran
message out there.
The agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You reckon, Keith?
Yeah, I think probably, try maybe get a loan or something like that. But a purchase, I'm not so sure at Everton. I'm not sure if Everton come in and buy a Newcastle player, put it that way.
Yeah, I was biding myself some time there. I was trying to go through the whole squad and thinking whoever would take. Definitely not Wilson. No. I think, apparently they're getting that young lad from Sporting Lisbon, a striker, apparently.
Yeah.
Our Callum's been going on about it for the last couple of days, saying he's going to win the Golden Boot, saying all that. It's just the usual rubbish. No, I don't think so. But you lads have talked about the players, potentially they could go for. And I think the most likely would probably be like a Ryan Fraser, because they could do with someone like Ryan Fraser. But I doubt it. Probably not.
Yeah, what's the latest on Ryan Fraser? What's happening? Because I'm hearing bits and bobs, but I'm not seeing anything concrete. There's clearly a relationship issues there, and he's got to go at some point. So,
yeah,
if there was one to go from Newcastle to Everton, that would one make sense.
Yeah,
I was about to throw Jamal Lascelles into the ring. He is a Dice type defender, like no nonsense, and I don't know whether you guys seen it or whether like anybody's thoughts on it, but Lascelles, apparently John Casey said it's his last game as captain of Newcastle. He tweeted out earlier on whether there's anything in that he leaves or whether there's another meaning to that. I don't know.
I think Howe's been incredibly respectful to Lascelles, hasn't he? Even though he hasn't been playing in the team, and he's always been the captain, and sort of the rest of the team has as well. Trippier and everybody have been respectful since. So it's him not being captain. I do think there could be something in that at some stage.
I apologise, Craig Lee. I wasn't there to disrespect Lascelles by sending him to Everton. I was just saying it was just a viable option. That was all I'm saying. I think if we got another right-sided centre back in and we sold ourselves, I think most people would. Yeah.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. The other reason I was thinking about Fraser as well is apparently Damari Gray is throwing his toys out the pram, saying that he wants to go to Fulham. So then obviously they will be light a right winger. So don't know.
Get to work, fella. Get to work.
Yeah. I need to start making some calls, don't I? I need to get Mike on. Tell Mike today, tell Mike we've got some fantastic fringe players there that he could, have.
Right, we'll move on, lads.
Love
We'll
it.
move on. And we'll go again. Oh, another one. This one is, will Newcastle loan a player from Saudi over the course of the season?
I've said possibly in January.
Does anybody know? And Rich, I don't know if you know this, but does anybody know when the Saudi season
I'll find out for you now while you're putting
kind of
your answer.
ends? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how long you would have to play it for, because I don't know.
I think it's similar to ours.
I thought you were taking the mick out of me then, Peter, with that.
No.
You were doing the same as me.
Were we both doing that? Were we both doing that at the same time?
Like that? Yeah.
I apologize. I think it's very similar. I think it's. I'm doing it again, but I'm just not doing it on screen.
They start next week as well. They start their league next week as well.
And when's it finish, Rich?
2 ticks. I will tell you.
Because there's a lot of talk, isn't there, of loaning a player? But the reason you loan the player is because there's a big chunk where they don't play.
Roland says ASM.
They finish the end of May.
Oh.
So their season's like mirrors ours pretty much.
Oh, well, that's a bit weird then, isn't it?
I can't see that many there.
I think the only reason why I said January is because obviously I said it. I don't think we'll be making any splashes like buying anyone in January. I think we'll do a lot more business this window, and you don't know how many of these players who went over there won't settle.
It'd be interesting to know how their Champions League falls, because they've got their own Champions League, because that's the one that they want to win. Now, if one of those big teams, particularly that big four, drops out of the Champions League and are not competing, could that mean that some of the players move on to a team that is in the Champions League? Now, if we get to January, February, and we're still in Champions League, we'll be in the draw for the knockout stages. Could that be an attraction for some of those players to go?
Yeah,
they're in the final knock-ins. I've got a chance to get further on in the competition, or failing that, higher in the competition for the Europa League. But I don't know. It's an interesting conversation. I think personally, I think Newcastle won't, because of the stigma around us and the scrutiny. I personally don't think it would happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if players do get loaned to other Premier League clubs from Saudi. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, do you know what? I was toying with the answer to this question, and I think you're right in what you say, Pete. And also, I'm gonna lean on the fact that of Eddie being the way he is. I get the impression Eddie Howe's very much an all or nothing kind of manager, and I just don't see him bringing someone in from for like 2 or 3 months, or someone who's got his eye elsewhere, or he's not that committed to the cause. I think the biggest opportunity for us to get a loan in would be a loan with an option or obligation to buy for the full season. I don't see us bringing someone in just for 3 or 4 months. I just don't see that as an option, especially because it can upset the balance of the team. Different personalities, attitudes. I think Eddie Howe likes a tight knit group, and that everybody is that. Hence why he's got rid of Ryan Fraser, and he's just gone. Don't want you in and around the dressing room. Get out. And if you bring in a lone player who's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder, a bit of an attitude, bit of a whatever, that can upset the whole.
I don't think to be fair, because I don't think he'd bring that sort of player in straight away anyway. I don't think he would have anyone that's got a chip on the shoulder. He wouldn't be even looking at them. We know what it has to be about: leadership, by the team ethics, no like prima donnas, that sort of stuff. Those sort of players wouldn't even be linked with Newcastle even on loan. But I agree. I think it could be a loan with an option to buy in the summer.
Keith?
Yeah, I'm attending an agreement with the lads here. I think certainly in this window, I don't see it happening. Maybe next year I see it happening. What I mean, is there potential here that maybe at some point we might get a striker in by loan, or maybe a goalkeeper in by loan? So one of those sort of positions, really, if one of our keepers goes.
Yeah, possibly.
Possibly. Great shout.
Striker, definitely, Keith. I could see that. I could definitely see a striker.
Farad Al-Shadi or somebody like that who's got about 7 goals. You know, maybe who plays for Al Hilal or somebody like that who comes in maybe for half a season if Newcastle need goals. If the relationship's there and it's a good working relationship with the Saudi Pro League, then somebody like that could come in and make the difference as a loan.
So not Benzema.
I was about to say, why not Benzema? Sadio Mane? No,
Mahrez?
Oh,
You'd love that.
I think Maz's question is a Saudi player, isn't he? Really,
Yeah.
Somebody who plays in the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I meant the opposite. Sorry, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we moved on. We moved on to that question. Let's go. Go again. Save that for next season. Next season predictions. What do we have this time? Oh, another one. The views. What do you think our reaction show? Which reaction show will get the most views?
Probably
I'm
when
gonna
we
say
beat City, I'd imagine.
yeah.
when we beat
I was
City.
gonna
Okay.
say City or Liverpool at home.
When we smash them.
I said
we enjoyed the Man United at home one quite well, didn't we?
did.
You know, Daz has used it in the Goosebumps trailer at the start, the intro. Wouldn't surprise us. It's Man United again.
What about when we win a trophy?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Jesus,
good shout, Pete. Good shout.
That's my answer as well. I'm changing my answer.
I
want that.
As I said, when we win a trophy. But yeah, that's got to eclipse anything that we've had before.
What do the stats say, Keith?
Based on previous seasons and going on form last year, Newcastle versus Man United, Newcastle versus Liverpool, we've got to say 4.4k views for those reaction videos for those matches. I think Pete makes a really good point. If Newcastle do well and get to a cup final, certainly the reaction on that. But I'll throw in this one here as well, a Champions League night. What if we get a Barcelona? Or what if we get a Real Madrid and get a good result like a draw or something like that? Can you imagine? So I would ordinarily say it's probably going to be either United, Liverpool, but maybe one of those Champions League nights.
Great shout.
And Keith, if it's a draw, Keith, you'd be taking the kudos as well because you'd have probably said it'd be 1-1, didn't you?
Against Real Madrid, surely one of the greatest results in Newcastle's history.
I'm delighted we brought Keith on because he's another angle on everything, and he's thought a lot of this through. So I like it. I like it, Keith. I like these answers. Right, let's go again. We spin again. What have we got? We're getting there now. Nearly there.
We are.
Oh, big one here. Newcastle's player of the season.
I went with Bruno.
I've gone with Isak. Because if he's going to be Newcastle player of the season, if he's going to be the Premier League player of the season, so
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, fair play. Ooh.
I thought
Keep
that was
thinking
going to say
Chris.
KK.
No, he won't get it. He won't. He'll only get 6 months from January on, Chris. So no, he needs in the full season.
Still time. Yeah, I'm gonna Oh, I don't know.
See, this is where it helps to have your homework done.
There's so many options.
Mm.
Who got it last season? Big Joe.
It was Trippier, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it.
Chips.
Hmm. I'm going to go Nick Pope.
Nick Pope.
Mm.
I'm going to go Nick Pope.
It's
I'm
nine.
gonna
I know
say I'm gonna say Isaac, because I think Isak's gonna score a lot of goals this season. And I nearly said Joe Linton, but I'm gonna say Isaac because I think he's gonna really stand out this season in terms of goals.
Okay. Pete, take your answer.
What's that?
Did you answer, Pete?
Pope.
Yeah, Pete said Pope.
Nick
Oh,
Pope.
Pope. Sorry. Keith, did you answer?
I haven't answered yet. I agree with the points made. I think there's some really good shouts. I think Botman is a really good shout because he had a brilliant season, didn't he, last year? Really, for a first season, if he gets better. But I'd like to throw a wild card in here. I could be completely wrong. I could have egg in my face at the end of the season if this doesn't work. Sandro Tonali. I think this guy, if this works, if this transfer works, he could be a game changer for Newcastle. It could, be one of those next level players, takes Newcastle to the next level. If it works in that season.
Do you think he'll have the same impact, Keith, as what Bruno did? Do you think he will potentially could? The way Bruno made this big impact as soon as he joined.
Yeah.
Do you think we could see that from Tonali?
Absolutely. That's what I was thinking of when that came through the door. When that signing came through the door, it made us think of Bruno. And, it's a defensive midfield. The strengthening the midfield, I don't think we've ever really seen before, that sort of player. And getting him from AC Milan as well, that never happens. And that sort of signing, it was just a real coup and a real... So I'm optimistic here, but I'd like it to be Tonali. It would be incredible if he makes that impact in Newcastle.
Two things I was going to say, just to follow on the Tonali bit, because obviously regards to the impact, will we see as much as what we did with Bruno? I think possibly not, because I think he's got a lot more quality around him than what Bruno did when he first came in. I think you could see Bruno really stand out in that midfield at the time. So I don't know if you'll perhaps see it as much. But the other thing that I was going to turn around and say is obviously, we've got a really tough start of the season, which is someone's actually put a question, so I'll ask at the end when we've gotten through ours, Daz, when we go through the wheel. It says, if we know like Eddie Howe normally is, and he doesn't tend to start his new starters straight away, and he brings them in gradually and stuff like that, if we have a good start of the season and he's not in the starting lineup, and obviously we know how hard our season is, if we have a good start, will he find it difficult to get into the starting lineup to actually potentially go on a big player of the season?
Well, there's going to be so many games, Richie, that there's going to be rotations. Going to be so he will get game time. But yeah, I can see what you mean. If we win every game, it is going to be hard to get back in. But
the sort of thing happened last year, didn't it? Really, at the start of the season with Botman. Botman wasn't in straight away; he was eased in.
Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me if Tonali's first start, and this is literally just down to his experience, is in the Champions League, if we have a good start in the Premier League.
I don't want to put that pressure on Tonali with regards to Bruno, because they're different players. Like, if you listen to Eddie Howe's comments about Tonali after the Fiorentina game, he's a guy that knits the play. He's not a guy that will score you loads of goals or get you loads of assists, but what he would do, he'd ensure that the pattern of play is consistent.
Intercepting.
And he did that yesterday. He was outstanding yesterday for what he did. He broke up the play, he kept things tight, but he kept things ticking from right to left. and I thought
If
he
this-
was outstanding with that.
if this signing
Bruno's
works-
a different player. Bruno
if
does
this-
things different, and I think Rich is right. Is that Bruno was here, and every other midfielder was here. Now Tonali comes in, and everyone's kind of here, so there's not as big of a jump. So for me, I don't want to put that pressure on Tonali because I think I don't think he deserves that sort of pressure. But for me, I think it'd be brilliant for us. I really do.
Speaking of pressure, I've got an Isaac player, Premier League player of the season up there, Pete. So yeah, we're putting pressure on all our players, but yeah, no, it's a good shout, Keith, and it's someone that I suppose I didn't think of either. So interesting. Right, let us move on. We go again. First, Newcastle hat-trick. From who? I'm going to say Isaac. My default answer.
Do you know what? I'm not being funny, Dad, but this is the easiest question of the lot. It's simply Keith Roll. He's been sitting on the fence at least 3 times at some point at the first few weeks of the season. So it's got to be Keith Roll.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 away, 3 on the fence, a hat trick straight away.
Anyone else apart from Isaac and Keith Rowe?
Callum Wilson.
You're on mute, Chris.
Sorry. I'm half tempted to say Harvey Barnes after today because I could see it. Do you know what? I'll go Harvey Barnes.
Interesting shout. Keith?
Well, this was a really interesting question. Newcastle have not. When was last time Newcastle scored a hat trick? When do you think it was?
I think we discussed this recently, actually. I know that obviously Wijnaldum's not far off against Norwich.
A hat trick.
Perez against Southampton.
Yeah, you've got it in one there, Pete. It was Ayoze Perez.
Oh, nice, Pete.
4.5 years ago. So Newcastle have not scored a hat trick in a season for 4.5 years. And Richie, you added in there about Wijnaldum. They've only 2 players have scored a hat trick for Newcastle in 12 years since the 2011-12 season. The likes of Demba Ba was scoring hat tricks. So it's a difficult one to call. There's been a lot of players on 2 goals each. So I know Wilson's came close, but no player scored a hat trick yet. I think on the form, given how he plays and the way he's been getting goals, I think it could be Isaac, but I'm not 100% confident on this question because, as I've said, no player's got a hat trick. It could be a League Cup match, something like that when it happens eventually.
Are we talking Premier League?
Anywhere.
Catch it.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if anyone got a hat trick in the Championship. But yeah, but Perez got one before Rafa left the club, and ultimately Perez left the club. So I don't think anyone's got one since.
I do love the way you answer the questions, Keith, because it's like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Final answer. It's like everything on the line before you answer.
What was that guy who called? Was it? It wasn't Tech. It was Major somebody, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
He was having somebody cough in the background there to give him the answer.
We'll try that for the next one. Right, here we go. Okay, it is Premier League top goal scorer. I've said Haaland.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Anyone other than Haaland?
I would say definitely Haaland. The thing is about Haaland, 138 goals in 142 games over the last 4 seasons. He's got a goal scoring rate in 97, over 97% of his matches. So in a long-term injury permitting, it'll be Haaland again with similar numbers to last year in the Premier League.
Sorry, I was just laughing to myself then, Keith, because I was trying to think of someone other than Haaland, and then I thought, why am I doing this? It's a stupid thing to do. So yeah,
I think
let's
Kane's a
go
good shout
Haaland.
there from Alan Thompson if Kane stays.
I'm not
in the
convinced he
Bundesliga.
stays.
Got
He's
four
got 4
today.
today. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, 4.
But was that a goodbye? He got a standing ovation when he left. He left the
Yeah.
pitch today. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. I hope it is a goodbye.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just
So,
think,
so do I.
lads,
Oh,
just aside about Kane, I just think it would be fantastic for him playing at a club like Bayern Munich. How can you turn a club down like Bayern, winning league after league, and get to the latter stage of the Champions League? If he stays at Spurs and he misses this opportunity, I just think it's really unfortunate for his career.
Keith, do you think it's disrespectful, the fact that there's so many pundits and people in the media in this country are kind of downplaying Bayern Munich as a club to go to? Because I do.
Yeah, I think really, I don't know if that's Premier League bias, with the top 4 certainly, and the bias they have towards those clubs. How can you disrespect a club like Bayern Munich and their history, and particularly the last 25 years? They arguably were more successful than Man United when their pomp under Fergie. If you remember, they were getting the Champions League finals more than United did when they won the treble, and they were winning. They should have won that final in '99, and they won it in 2001. And particularly the last 10 years, apart from Real Madrid and Barcelona, who else has really won or been there or thereabouts than Bayern Munich?
All right, lads, we'll go again. Some of these are quick that's left as well, so we'll fight through them. Okay, this one won't be. The bottom 3, who gets relegated?
I've went with Luton, Sheffield United, and Wolves.
Okay, I'll go from bottom up. I think finish bottom is Luton Town. Finish in 19th is Sheffield United. Look at away now, Lisa Hall. It's Everton for me, the 18th spot. Sorry, Chrissy.
I agree wholeheartedly with that, particularly about the 3rd place. I'm sorry, Chris. Sorry, Lisa. Sorry.
I don't apologize to
No,
me.
boys. It's time. It's time. But yeah, I actually think Sheffield United will finish lower than Luton.
Really?
That's the only change I'd make. Yeah, they're
I'm undecided on the 18th spot. I definitely agree with you boys, Luton, Sheffield United. I think Burnley will stay up. I think Vincent Kompany will get a tune out of them. I think they could surprise a few this season, actually. It's difficult. It's a choice of about 4 or 5 clubs. I want to say Everton, but I always say Everton and they never go down. So I'm thinking if I say someone else, they might actually go down.
Should have thought
that. Yeah, do you know what? I'll say Sheffield United, Luton, and it's so hard to say. I'm just going to say Forest, but I'm not wholly convinced it will be Forest.
Forest 17th, just staying up. Yeah.
Rich?
I said it. I said Luton, Sheffield United, and Wolves.
Oh, sorry, mate. Yeah, you said Wolves.
Keith?
Yeah, of course. Keith?
I think Everton are fantastic escape artists on the last day and the last few. They've proven it. And I think, unfortunately, as was proven with Sunderland, being down there isn't healthy yet year after year. They haven't really, their situation's not changed. but I still think they're going to save themselves this season with that Goodison Park crowd. And my bottom three will be Luton. I think they'll make it difficult for a lot of teams at Kenilworth Road, but I think Luton don't have enough. Sheffield United don't have enough. And I agree with Richie here. The third spot is difficult for us. I think it could be one of a couple of teams, but I think Wolves could be dragged in there for the lack of goals last year.
Little Dan.
Did anyone see Ait Nori's goal the other day, by the way?
I didn't see it, but I heard it was good.
Nice goal. Yeah.
Is that the top right hand corner? They put it in the top right hand corner. Yeah. Little Dan has a thing where he just anything good Wolves, he just puts it on the chat. He promotes anything Wolves, whatever he possibly can. So yeah, I did see that.
It was a funny one, wasn't it? It was a funny one. Them selling what's his face so young, so cheap. Oh, what's his name? Val Jimenez.
Yes.
He had a year left on his contract. He had a year left on his contract. That's why.
$5.5 million though. Jesus.
But isn't he like 32 now? Is that 30, 31, 32?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. It just seems really cheap though. I know obviously he's had the bad injury and stuff. For Premier League striker, I don't know. I was surprised by that. Anyway, sorry, Daz.
This is an easy one. Will Eddie still be in charge at the end of the season? Yes, is the answer. Anyone think differently?
Not even going to dignify this with an answer.
Richie's got his finger there. Come on, Rich.
Fabshaw, same as Daz.
Yeah.
We're going again.
He's staying.
It was a stupid question. Let's go again.
I think this is the second time you're going to get us off the fence. Eddie Howe will be there at the end of the season.
Yeah, he sure will. Okay, we've kind of, and some of us have answered this already. Newcastle's final position, I'm saying I've upgraded them to third, and because I think we're going to have Tino Livramento, we're going to have another signing, and we might even get someone else surprised before the end of the transfer window. So I'm going to say third for Newcastle, and hopefully we get two on injuries. We don't have too many injuries. Pete?
I think I had them fourth.
Yeah,
fourth.
I had them
fourth. Okay.
I said sixth.
Between fifth and seventh for me. And I keep changing it all the time because of there's been some great points, especially earlier, about what Chris has said. It's about how much Chelsea in particular have improved. You know, Liverpool are going to be better this season for sure. And also as well, Villa pushing as well as the most improved side in the second half of last season. They were the third best side since January in the last 19 games. The acquisitions they made, they could make a lot of surprise and they could push into that top 6, top 5 this season. So with me, I would love to say Newcastle are going to be top 5, but I could easily see between 5th and 7th.
Right. Interesting shout from Foxy as well. He reckons that they win the Europa League.
And then Champions League place for that as well.
Yeah. We'll take that.
Yeah.
Can I just say, obviously we've got, 270, 280 in the chat. We've only got 100 likes. Come on, guys.
Come on.
Guys.
You need to, everybody click like literally right now.
There should be 100% likes just because Keith's on the show.
And for those as well listening on a phone or a non-PC device, it's fairly easy to click that like button, isn't it? When you're listening on a phone.
Yeah.
So we've got 110 likes at the moment. Look, we've got nearly 300 in the chat. Let's get us up to 300 ASAP. And so whilst you're there.
Yep. Exactly. Okay, let's go again. We have a members draw coming up at the end as well. Everyone knows. For the Loaded Ultras. When shall the fan zone open? Now, it is due to open in November. and I'm saying it'll be open in December for Christmas.
Do you know what? I've got an outside shout. It could be earlier than that because obviously it's Stack that's doing it, and obviously they can put it together pretty quickly because obviously shipping containers and stuff like that, and you can put a stage up. I'm going to go for the first Champions League game.
Wow, that is impressive.
Could you imagine that? Well, we know what Champions League nights are like on Newcastle, but could you imagine it with a fan zone as well the first night?
Richie, can you remember? I don't know, maybe you can't remember, but it's certainly on one of the old season review videos, which is online from 97, 98. The excitement of the old club shop around the Barcelona game.
Yeah.
And the activity around the ground before that. I mean, if it would be something similar for the Champions League, that would be great.
As I said, Harry, I think it's an outside shout. Why not?
I'm gonna go December or January.
Yeah, I'll go by Christmas. I think that would be a nice little, get everyone down there on Boxing Day or something like that. That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, like a Christmas market kind of atmosphere there.
I think,
yeah.
Absolutely. I think you've tapped on something there as well. Obviously, the going out season pre-Christmas. People, maybe there's a little bit as well about like work nights out. Go to the Stack, at St. James's Park. There could be a little element of that coming in. But I think realistically, does this need to go through planning application at the council first, Newcastle City Council?
It's not been accepted yet, Keith.
Yeah. So there's that element as well, which could take a little bit of time. But I think certainly before a day or so leading up towards one of our later Champions League games, I think it would be phenomenal if it's like one of the November fixtures. It's there.
On the subject there, Lisa Mole's just put, sorry, I'm just going to rob the chat a second.
Yeah.
Lisa Mole said, the fan zone will show all televised NUFC games also. I just wonder, I wonder if there's any opportunity, I'm not saying they will, but if there's any opportunity for them to kind of like try and buy the rights so that they could play all Newcastle games within only that little sector. Is that just not something they could do?
No, I can't.
No.
Difficult.
Only televised games.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why Newcastle couldn't do the Cellar Cup today, because it was on the same fixture schedules as the EFL, and it's like there's like bylaws that you couldn't do it and stuff like that. So,
Chris, it would sell out. It would sell out within seconds if that was the case.
Yeah.
Just imagine that. Like nobody would want to be sitting at home watching the game. They'd all want to be going to the Stack.
Yeah.
And they would be raking in crazy money. They'd be able to raise their prices crazy.
Yeah, they will.
Which won't go down well because of all the ticketing and stuff, but they would be able to because people would want to watch every Newcastle game together with somebody. Imagine they'd be able to extend that and people would flock in.
Well, this is what it's like, isn't it, Pete? Like, you and I went down to Wembley and we didn't have a ticket, for the final. But it was just nice to be in and amongst the atmosphere. Apparently
it was amazing, mate.
The Metropolitan Police said, didn't they, that there was an approximate amount of 130,000 Newcastle fans down in Wembley for the final. And it's just being in that atmosphere, isn't it?
Another thing to take in, though, when we say about a fan zone, it doesn't have to be the finished article either. You've seen these World Cup fan zones that go on that are like put up, for a few months or a few weeks, depending on what. Like Newcastle have it in the Life Centre, in the square of the Life Centre and stuff like that. There's the one down that Keith Downey was hosting, and the Paddy Power one on the quayside. They can go up like that. So that's why I was saying you might not see like the full version, but you could see a stage. You can see a few open bars and stuff like that come on, and like temporary bars and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily have to be the full finished article.
Great point. It could be like a thing that's put together in an agile way where it's just bit by bit over the coming weeks.
Yeah. Let's see. We'll see what happens. Let's go again, guys. Okay, Sunderland had a bad result today. This question is, will Sunderland get promoted? I'm saying no.
Not a chance.
Too many good clubs went down. Sunderland's aren't even in the ballpark of the likes of Leeds or Leicester. No way.
I completely agree. That's why I went like that.
Yeah,
Keith.
I think
I'm not even good. I was going to say just before, I'm not even going to put any of their viewers' comments up here because they're exactly the same as ours.
I think the law of averages means that Sunderland will eventually get promoted one way or another.
That's not what we're asking, Keith.
But
What we're asking.
We can't change
Don't
the
sit
question.
on the, don't
Yes,
sit on the fence. Come on.
but I would say when Sunderland have been promoted in the past, they generally just run away with the division. And I think Richie's points there, too many teams, and Chris there, too many teams, good teams have gone down. Southampton, Leicester.
Yeah, Southampton as well.
Leeds as well in there. That's a strong crop there, and with their players as well. And there's always the teams there who are pushing as well, the likes of Coventry and that. It's really competitive. It's going to be tough for Sunderland to be in that top six. And as well, have they managed to keep hold of Ross Stewart? Is he still at Sunderland?
I think so. I think he's still not fit though.
He's injured.
Yeah, and that was their trouble last season. They sort of got into the playoff positions, but they needed more than his goals, really. And for me, this year, I don't think they'll come up automatically. So I'm probably going to say no to that, to Sunderland.
Diallo, who was on loan from Man United, he was the difference maker for them.
It still sort of feels very short term with Sunderland. You know, with some of the players that are coming in who are making the difference, that they're in today and they're gone the next day, a bit like what Josh Madger was when they were in League One. Next thing you know, he's gone. So for those reasons, I'm still going to say no, not this year.
This year. Let's go again. One of these questions we've answered already, so this is it here. Actually, who are the Premier League champions going to be? I think we've all kind of said Man City, haven't we?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll go again. Oh, this is topical, based on having Lee on the show the other night. Will Loaded have revenge on Newcastle Fans TV when we play them next? And of course, Lee had a nice little tweet out today, Pete. But
The fact that it would have been nice to know that I was being filmed and I didn't even realise it. Thanks for that, Lee.
It's the celebrity status, Pete. That's why, mate.
It's not celebrity status at all. Me and Jordan just having a catch up, and he's there filming us without even knowing. But yeah, I didn't get to see Lee yesterday. But of course, we spoke.
He saw you.
Yeah, he saw me. It was not the first time we did. We talked about it after the show on Thursday. It was the Chelsea game. I'm walking away going back to my car, and he's there just walking alongside me, just filming me. But yeah, will we get revenge? You're damn right we will. Bruno's magic hat won't save him this time.
And ring a goalkeepers.
And we did say that Lee will be in goal this time. He can get someone else to do his filming, but look, plans are afoot, should we say, for the next game, and it should be a good one because not only will we hopefully be able to raise fantastic amounts of money for a worthy cause.
That's all about.
We'll be able to have some fun. And,
I think Joy Tune for Life needs his membership cancelling.
Jordy Tune for Life. We'll remember that.
And then, and to be fair, and Geordie Mix now on there as well. The hit list.
Hey, just no more hugs.
Jordy Tune for Life. I'm going to make a list. You're on it. Top of the shop.
I can't wait for the game next season. I'm gonna come early to Newcastle. I'm gonna make sure I'm there a few hours before. And
James, Chris,
I thought you said a day early.
I might. Yeah, I can't miss that game. I was gutted to miss that. I only got about 10 minutes at the end, and I hated it.
Yeah, we're all waiting for Gaza to run on the pitch and be our saviour.
Yeah, well, and hopefully my Achilles will be all right by then. So
Yeah.
That's a work in progress too.
Keith, what are you
I've got
thinking?
one question here. Was 40 at the game yesterday?
He
Clint?
was.
So if there is a match in the future, obviously, Pete, given your connections there with Geordie's down south, which team does 40 play for if he is there at the game?
He's Newcastle fans TV. I speak to Fordy all the time. To be fair, I was leaving the ground. He was messaging me saying, "Oh, I just seen you." I was like, "You should have messaged me earlier." But he is Newcastle fans TV all day long. He'll be with them.
And
He's with the rivals.
I just thought I'd put the intrigue. I thought I'd put the little bit of intrigue out there, given your connection there with Geordie's down south, Pete. But
Yes.
I'll say this: it could go to penalties, just like the TalkSport match did. Can you imagine that 17-17 being involved in a thriller like that?
That'd be brilliant. Entertainment value, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, last question, lads, and this was an easy one. It's probably fitting that we finish this one as well for the predictions. No real need to spin it, but will Newcastle obtain silverware this season? And I'm not talking the Stella Cup. Will we see silverware? It's a tough one.
I'm going to kick it off. I will say no. Not this season, but it is coming.
Yes. And Darren Eales agrees as well, by the way.
Yes.
Love it, Richie.
Yeah, there you go. When I saw that, I thought we have to put this on because
cups that they've won recently, those ones.
Yeah, there you go. And hopefully, he has a couple of more to add to that. That's for sure. Look, I'm always going to say yes because I'll be honest with you, for 15 years nearly, I didn't have any hope, but now I do. So for every season we go into, I'm always going to say yes. I believe that we'll get a trophy of some form because that's what we're fighting for now, as our chairman quite rightly said. So I'm always going to say yes.
Cool. I go Keith.
Unfortunately, no, not yet. I think I want to see we get closer. I think we need to be in that position a bit more. I mean, that was our first final in 24 years. I think it was great that we got there, but I just think we need that little bit more cutting edge. I have to be convinced that we've got that cutting edge, just like United had in last year's final. So for me, not this season, but fingers crossed it's coming in the next couple of seasons.
I'm gonna go with you, Keith. I don't think it'll be this season, but I think we'll have so much going on this season anyway that have enough to keep us entertained. But yeah, it's coming soon. Yep. So that's it for the predictions. So what I'm going to do straight away, I'm going to do the members draw, and then I can get rid of this wheel. So
there's one really good question I want about that was put in, and I thought was very interesting just to actually put up as a good one to finish, and it was from David Torfield actually, and he wants to know of all of us, no fence sitting, Keith, how many points will we have after 6 games?
Well, Keith's going to say 6.
Maybe 5 because one of them's the Man City game, isn't it?
True.
For just to refresh on the fixtures, it's Villa at home, City away, Liverpool at home, Brighton away, Brentford at home, Sheffield United away. That's our first 6.
Thir 13.
I was going to say 11.
I'm going to go 10.
10. 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3, 6.
Do you need a calculator,
7,
Chris?
10. Do you know what? I thought my score would have been lower than this. But I'm looking at that and I'm thinking minimum 11, possibly 13. My birthday's 13, so I'm going to say 13.
13.
Mm-hmm. And I mean,
Okay.
I tell you what, if we get 13, that's a hell of a start. Considering it was a tough start, that's one hell of a start if we get 13.
Oh, I see the answers pop up in the chat there. Very interesting. What everyone's thinking as well. Let's do the members draw, lads, because I will forget this otherwise. Let's go. Let me restart this. Go to start. I want to just be spinning. Yes, here we go. Best of luck to everyone. This is for a £75 gift voucher for the Newcastle Club shop. Here we go. And if you've been drawn before, we spin again. And obviously, if it's any of us, we spin again. Lee Errington. Congratulations, Lee.
Well done, Lee.
Yes.
Lee.
I know you sent us a lovely message there on the chat and on Twitter, but congratulations, Lee. You are a winner of the last voucher. Contact any of us or contact Chris or the loaded chat and the loaded Twitter in DMs, and we will get that sent out to you.
Fantastic.
Top man.
That's the end of the wheel. Richie, I think you wanted to go with some questions in as well.
Yeah, obviously that one I mentioned before was one of them. I want to give out a shout out to PDQ. Well, obviously, Alex hasn't been well. He's just let us know earlier on the show. He's got one more chemo to go. Yeah. So fingers crossed, mate. With thoughts are with you and everything. Stu Amos is obviously, this is something we discussed about doing last when we hit over last time. Stu Amos is saying us to do a loaded live in person show. It's something that we've talked about. It's something that we might look to revisit depending on, you know, what can happen in locations and stuff like that. Alan Thompson wanted to give us a compliment. We were turning about, obviously, when we were looking for the 7K subs and everything, that question around there. Alan Thompson had a fantastic comment to say to us all. Best compliment is I can give is that you're part of my life, the Loaded Mag family, just like the legends on the radio in the years gone past. Obviously, I don't know, obviously with Daz and Pete and Chris, obviously, I know Keith will know, obviously, the three legends was on Century Radio about 15 years ago or something like that with Malcolm MacDonald, Bernie Slavin, and don't really care about the Sunderland guy. So it's nice of you to say that, Alan. It's much appreciated. Stu also came back and just said about pause the show until everybody likes it. So we'll have to better forward. That's a great shout.
Might have to try that.
Yeah.
Great shout. And Stephen Fairburn came and we talked about the stack before in the fan zone. He's in the music industry in the queue for downloads they can do in one day. They could put something together. So that's interesting. And bear in mind, obviously, it's Newcastle that own that part there. So they'll want to get some sort of run as quickly as possible because obviously it's more revenue for the club. So that's just the interesting things I've started. So if anyone else has got anything interesting.
What do you think of that? I'll give a shout out to the sponsors though, and we'll tell people what else is happening coming up. But shout out to H2O Bathroom Design Co., the Northeast's largest supplier of Velcro and botch bathroomware. Team Valley Gateshead, over 20 years established, ran by the family. Get down to the showroom on 11th Avenue, Team Valley Estate, Gateshead. Mention Loaded, and you never know, you might get some kind of a discount. And also, here's some of the fabulous bathrooms on offer, of course. Also, a shout out to the radiatorshed.com as Keith and Richie go into jail there. But everyone knows already the fabulous radiators that Russ has going there in the Radiator Shed and the install works. He can get them installed for you as well. And definitely mention Loaded there and you'll get a discount via Russ. And yeah, that's just a quick shout out to our sponsors. I'll tell people then what's happening before if you think of that, and we want to end the show on, lads. But just coming up tomorrow, Pete, tell us what's happening with this one.
Background Europe's back. We always do it 2-3 times throughout the season. Well, I say we have last season because we were fighting for Europe, but we've got the boys back. We've got a number of teams, not all of them, but a number of teams from around European positions to come and join us on the show. tomorrow to talk about their chances and others of finishing in European positions this season. So looking forward to talking all things football, and the new season really kicks in from this week. So looking forward to chatting. Like I say, Lawless is back, and there'll be a number of others from other clubs. For example, I think Keith, you put the armchair. You talked about the armchair Man United fans. Keane will be back joining us tomorrow night to talk all things Man United. So yeah, looking forward to it. Should be a really good chat. And yeah, there may be one or two fireworks in there. I'm not going to lie.
There always is. Nice. Yeah, I forgot I put the picture up. I can take it down again. Yeah, it's just that's tomorrow night, 7:30. Tuesday night, possibility there might be some kind of a show. Wednesday night, also a possibility. I haven't got the poster ready for that one yet, but I know we're definitely back on Thursday night for away days. So we'll build as we build up to the kickoff for the season. So that one is coming up there. We'll talk about the lads. We'll talk about that as we get closer to the week, and we'll be back with the reaction show obviously as well at the when we get to see the game, the Newcastle Villa game, the first game of the season. Anything, lads, you want to end on before we close out?
I'd just like to say to Pete, because Lawless is going to be ramming it about that Europa League, just make sure you take them 2 cups in with the Saudi Cup and the Salah Cup tomorrow night.
I'll be honest with you, Keith, and look, if you're in the chat, feel free to jump in with your points on this. I don't think he'll be talking about too much about the Europa Conference. I think he's more worried about players that they're going to actually sign this summer, because they haven't signed anyone yet, and they're about to lose potentially Skamaka and one or two others. Cresswell, he's panicking right now.
Just also mention that
Sorry, Rich. Where's Cresswell going?
Cresswell was close to going to. He was very close to going to Wolves. That broke down, but apparently there's another club in the Premier League. I can't think. He tweeted out. No, he didn't tweet out. He put it in the chat earlier. He's about to go to somebody else. It might be Palace or somebody else, because Tariq Mitchell may well be moving on. From Palace.
Yeah, but isn't the rumours that Lewis Hall from Chelsea's going to go to Palace? He doesn't want Chelsea. Don't want him to go to Newcastle, but prepared to loan him to Palace.
Possibly, but there's no guarantees on that. I think Palace are linked with him. Wolves are still interested in him. And I think there's maybe one other club. And Lawless tweeted it because he put it in the chat, and he said to the guy in the club that he represents, I can't remember. I was going to say, just remember with Lawless just throwing about Fiorentina. That's all. Obviously, they only really had Amrabat missing on Saturday and against a bit part Newcastle, and So. Don't worry, for all you guys wrestling fans, it's on the list. Don't worry.
West Ham signed Sean Moore from Cliftonville. Have you heard of Sean Moore before? Cliftonville.
I've heard of Cliftonville.
Yeah, that's just on Sky's page, but I must say that name sort of went over my head and the team.
Oh. Yeah, Alvarez is meant to be 30 mil, isn't he?
Yeah. Interesting. Cheers, Adam, as well. Cheers to that one.
Cheers, Adam. Thanks, mate.
That is it. We'll bring this to a close. I hope you liked and you enjoyed, or I hope you liked as well, with the thumbs up on the button, our show. And who knows? Let's see what our predictions come true. We'll be back with more of the build-up for the big kickoff during the week and starting off with tomorrow. So thanks, Keith, for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for being in the chat and playing along in our interactive show. And one thing left to say, Keith, you can say it.
We all love an away day.
No.
We do. Yes.
How you like that?
Hey.
Like we the